moment of silence for the addicts that's suffering inside and outside of the rooms. Thank you. I'm an addict named Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
First of all, let me say that I don't speak for Narcotics Anonymous as a whole. So the topic that I've been given is freely given, what was so freely given to me. You know, to a selfish, self-centered, self-seeking, I just still could not believe that somebody would give me something free. To this day, I still have a problem with that. I'm always looking for a motive. What's the motive? What's behind you giving me and doing for me at this point with people? So here it is. I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I'm the oldest child of 4. I'm the only girl. And I'm the oldest grandchild on both sides. So basically, I learned everything that I've learned from adults. So I didn't have a lot of my cousins and brothers and sisters that were my age. So I learned a lot of stuff from adults. Coming into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I know that I had a drug problem. You know, I had a drug problem, and after I sat here for a while, I found out that it was a spiritual sickness, you know. Spiritually, that there is something wrong with me that makes me want to kill myself one bag at a time. Even though I knew it was killing me, I'm still wanting to go after this thing, this small substance that I call witchcraft now, because I don't care what nobody, you under a spell. You under a spell for quite some time. You know, the witch hat turns into a baseball cap, and I turn it back. The doggone kettle that the witches stir the brew in turns into a pipe. And I was under a spell for a long time. So I get here, and I take some suggestions about, making meetings. And I didn't know that in making meetings that I was showing someone that I could give of myself. And it was just that simple. Me showing up to meetings was practicing the 7th tradition. You know, I thought it was about money, but it was about me showing up, for someone else. But I really didn't understand that paradoxically. I didn't understand that, that showing up for someone else because I was freely given something, a key that my sponsor told me. She says, you know what, if you don't pick it up, you won't get high. What a concept. If you don't pick it up, you won't get high. I thought it was about control. If I just didn't hang around those people, and if I had someone to turn my money over to, or just if I had enough money, just enough money that this would not be an issue because I didn't have a problem using. I had a problem when I ran out. See, that's when the problem showed up. So, as I continue to come back, make meetings, what was freely given to me was hope, a message of hope. That any addict could stop using, lose the desire, and find a new way to live. The part about losing the desire, that was God's part. But the stop using part, that was on me through action. And the finding a new way to live is a constant reoccurring theme in my life. That's constant. The book tells me who I am and who you are. So there's no surprises about when I'm freely giving something of my heart, of my time, my energy, my finances, my talents, that sometimes I have unrealistic expectations. So when I'm doing all those things, I have to really, really look at my primary purpose for what I do. The message of Narcotics Anonymous is that, hey, we give. Our purpose for being here is to help others. But are you helping yourself in the process, Kelly? You know, I could give, and give myself away. I've seen me do it. I have a profession. And I'm undressing right now. So then as time on, I'm going to put all my clothes back on. I have a profession that allows me to give, but I get paid for it, right? And I make $100 an hour. That's my professional, but then I have a job that I go to. And I work with parolees, right? But on the side, my hustle, I'm a massage therapist, right? And I found out that, yeah, I like giving, but I also like to get paid too. So I'm like, how do I do? Greed kicks in. Then I have to go and volunteer my services somewhere to humble myself and think about who's giving me the gift and has put it in my hands. And as long as it's in my hands, I'll never be broke, right? So what has been freely given to me, I always have to look and see who's the gift giver. I have to constantly check myself because I'm still self-centered, still selfish, still self-seeking. I always have to look and see who's the gift giver of what I've been given. And I've been given a lot as a result of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, everything that I have, I've been given as a result of staying clean one day at a time. Because there's nothing, I don't care, I can't pray enough. I can't service enough to pay for the gift that I've been given, which is ultimately my life. I can't do enough. And then there's other times that I feel like I can't do no wrong either. Because I'm still blessed in the midst of. I just know that I'm not a bad person. I just do some things that's not always good. And can you measure that? Because what's good for you may not be good for me. And ultimately, I found out that I've made some good decisions that ultimately turned out to be bad decisions. So that's why I allow my sponsees and people who are around me be the authority over your own life. Work a step or die. Because I know today that I can't play God in nobody's life because I've seen the manifestations, the many manifestations of the recovering addict through you all. So I'm like real open. I have to sit back and watch and listen because there's all kind of stuff happening in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. I don't even watch TV. I don't know what cable looks like because this is real. This is some real stuff going on in here. You know, I look around and I come here. I've been coming here for the last couple of years, and you know, and I look around, and there's some natural things that are given to us around here that is just awesome. That I don't care how much I pay when I get here, it can never amount to the serenity and just the things that are unseen that I get as a result of coming here. Yes, I can touch you all, but there's some unseen stuff that's going on here too. I'm quite sure with each and every one of you all. And I call it healing. You know, the combination of the fire and the water and the air that we're able to breathe does something for me. And the people, it's not that I see you as exteriorly, but I know spiritually, it's like we all just doing this. Like, man, it's going on here. Mm-hmm. I don't see you with the clothes that you have on. I don't see what your hair looks. I just know spiritually, we all here to love one another through whatever it is. You know, my daughter tried to get out of coming, and she's, because I want my friends to come. But I explained to her, I said, you know what, maybe this is a time for you to get what you need. You know, you've been introducing your friends to some new things in their lives. Maybe it's time for you to get what you need. You'll be graduating from 8th grade. And her and I, it's been a hit or miss thing because, you know, freely giving what was given to me, the women, the brothers in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous helped enhance what I already have. When I got here and got divorced and went through all that stuff, I didn't think that I could be a parent. Because if you go to the school and they say, where is the parent? They don't say, where is the good parent? They say, where is the parents? And I qualify. So I let her know that, you know what, we've been hitting and missing each other because, you know, your mom is doing this, going here, going there, service work. You know, but service begins at home. It begins at home. I got a lady that comes to my house to have to clean up my house because I'm too busy. So she has to come once a week so I don't harp on her about cleaning. You know, there's a spirit of cooperation there. It needs to be, but I don't want to harp on her because I'm busy. So I have somebody else do my part. So her and I could get along in the house. Because if I ever get a man, I need a maid too, because I'm going to be mad if I have to clean up behind him, so I might as well put it in place right now. I don't want to be overly domesticated, you know what I'm saying? Look here, let's go have some fun. You know? Shoot. And it works. We have money to spend on whatever we want to. I could have bought a Learjet with all the dope that I used. I could have bought a Learjet. So it's some good things in life that, you know, that are very useful today to make relationships better, to improve on them. I have been given a lot as a result of not using one day at a time, and that's real simple. Just not using. But it still says if you want what we have to offer and are willing to take certain steps, this is what makes it possible. So that means that freedom ain't free around here. And I've come to learn that it's a list. I got a list of stuff. And it's some good stuff. Generosity, goodwill, you know, loving and caring, compassion, courage, commitment, understanding. I got some good stuff. And at any time that I don't want to fulfill my primary purpose here, I can scratch some of that stuff clean off that list. And the first one is integrity. The 12th step, my 2 addicts. And I've learned the broader the base, the higher the point of freedom. My service just doesn't just stop here in the rooms. It's universally. You know, it's universally. And sometimes I found myself wading in a lot farther than I ever thought I would. You know, having a friend, a childhood friend to come in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, and this was my childhood sweetheart, 3rd through 6th grade. He carried my books home every day. And I hadn't seen him in 20 years, right? So he's been some places in them spaces, you know. So he sees me as a ray of hope. And I'm one that believe that people are very useful. I am not one to tell people don't get into a relationship, because the fact of the matter is you're going to learn, either you're going to grow, glow, or you're going to go. You're going to get up out of here. So the fact about not getting into a sexual relationship like dude was talking about, the real you going to show up anyway. I don't care if you wait 5 years down the line or tomorrow. The real Slim Shady, please stand up. You gonna, It's inevitable. You're going to get what you need when it's time for you to work on it, because I believe that every step that I've worked and lived, I've had to utilize that principle to get me and keep me on my square. And I thank whoever it is very much. Thank you very much. But I know that, freedom is not free around here. I've had some painstaking truths, and have had with my friend, and he had to go do some, had to surrender in the federal pen after being clean for some time, hanging out with me. So he had to go and finish his time of 8 months in the federal pen. And I had to wonder if I needed a project. But I also... I'm like, oh, wow. But baby, that tore a lining out of me. I ain't gonna lie. Because he went back to using. I'm not going to say he relapsed. He went back to using. So now he's in the federal pen, and I always look and check and see, the primary purpose, irregardless to my selfish motives, has to be to carry the message to the addict that still suffers. And I know when I'm close to God's will and my will, I'm like, oh, I've crossed the line. And I'm human. I'm human. So I said, wow. So of course he's looking for me to be around when he gets out. And I've learned some things about Kelly since he's been gone since February, and that, hey, using, hey, if you want to use, you go ahead. That's a bit much. I never, my ex-husband didn't use dope, and I was with him for 15 years, but of course, hey, he had his stuff too, but he didn't drink, he didn't drug, but at the same time, I didn't want nobody that was using around me, because shoot, I needed your money, and I needed you to help me sort of kind of manage my life. So somebody that's using, man, that's a hurtful thing, and I identify with the hurt and the pain of loving someone and they using. That's a sad, when they want the dope more than they want you. Man, that's hurtful. And just to see it in full color, living color, and know that I never want to use again. Dang, that's a good one. Man, I do service work, and service work does me. And it keeps me a balance of, because I want to go over into a lifestyle, see, and I'm going to have to tell you about the lifestyle. If the drugs don't kill you, the lifestyle will. So my lifestyle is service work that keeps me from going over into the lifestyle of money, property, and prestige. If you ride around in a Phantom Rolls Royce for 2 or 3 days, you think you in Hollywood too. If you're talking about hanging out on yachts for the weekend, you might need a meeting too. So service work keeps me tied in, my sponsees, and me continue to stay committed to this thing, because, man, the good times can be a trap too. And how dare I just think that I'm all right? And my friend, he's not making meetings, but he came into all this money, and he just likes me to hang with him. That's his lifestyle. It's not mine. I got to go back with these parolees. So I have to get a real grip on what's reality for me, because fantasy is a drug, man. But dreams, I was like, man, we hanging. People taking pictures and, hey, they really sharp, all of that, fame, fortune, money, property, and prestige. And I'm like, let me give me some service work. Because there's no way that I ever want to disconnect from the source. Because I see how easy it is for them to do it. Because money has become available like that. I never want to disconnect because I see the destruction and how the thinking goes off. You know, I don't want to live with Miss Hyde. I don't know about none of y'all, but Miss Hyde is not a nice person to live with. You know, so the newcomers, you know, sharing with women. I love women groups. And see, this is one of little girls grow up. I'm still that little girl that has to grow up. And I share with women, you know, because there's so many things that hold women hostage. You know, the guilt, the shame, the remorse, and all that stuff we grew up as the goody two-shoes stuff, which has been imposed on us as growing up as little girls and as women that likes to keep us hostage. I free you up from it. I bust it. Because it's like this. When you leave here, it's over with. And some things, what's the virtue in it, really? I remember they used to say if you wore red lipstick, you was a hooker. If you wore the line up the back of your leg, you was just out there. I'm like, what's the real deal? I like it, I'm gonna wear it. And who cares what you think? You know, it's just all kind of stuff. When women were not able to smoke cigarettes in public because it was shameful. You couldn't leave your husband. They put you in an insane asylum and stuff like that. I'm like, You know, and my daughter, I can remember she was going through a thing with her body image and how that's a problem sometimes for me. And I have to go hang out with women at the water. I call it the water spot, and it's a place where a lot of massage therapists go. A lot of people go there. It's a bathhouse in Chicago. And I took her, and since then, she's like, well, you know what? I'm okay. Because there's some tore up sisters up in there, you know. She's like, belly, 3 and 4 bellies, you know. And she's like, I am okay. And ever since then, she has a better self-image about herself. Because we come as we are. This is what life is, you know, and it's good. You know, I said, when they asked me to speak freely given, a lot has been given to me, and I say that over and over again. And sometimes, you know, because I've been given so much, I want to get yours. You better get yours, because I had to get mine. And I found out that when my cell phone rings, I had to stop doing this. Oh, there's such and such person. I don't talk to them. That was the first time I realized. I was like, how dare you? I was like, how dare you? Call ID can make relationships really tough. And that was the first time I said, you know what? You better not, because somebody could be dying on the other end. Not that I can say, and I always tell my sponsors, there's nothing that I can say to save your life. The message is the same wherever you go. Don't use no dope. You know that. I don't care where you go. Don't use no dope. There's nothing that I could say that would save your life. But I can encourage, inspire, and uplift you at the point that you're at to possibly make another decision. Possibly. If you're open-minded. So one of my girlfriends told me, she says, if people are important enough, think of me enough to call me and leave me messages, the least that I could do is check them and return their calls. So I had to start looking at, am I giving back? Because those phone calls, gas is $4 and something a gallon, baby. So those phone calls, people are using phone calls more now than ever. So things are changing, whether I like it or not. And this is the realm that we're in. And I say it's still useful because it gets people motivated a little bit more to do some different stuff, to come together. How about that? I believe this is all for people to come together and stop fighting because times are changing. Money looks crazy, but I serve a limitless God, and that's what I told one of my friends this weekend. They're like, oh, that's too much gas. Oh, I gotta save my gas. I said, I serve a limitless God. I'm not gonna put limitations on this gas and where I need to go to save my life. I'm going to have some gas to do what I need to do. He can always provide. Always. And when I do well, my friends do too. And when they do well, I do too. Because they've been given some stuff around here too. You know, this is just always a time of renewal. It's so refreshing, man, not to have to do anything but just kind of hang loose. It feels real, real good. You know, I can never repay Narcotics Anonymous for the gift of life, and to have a place that I know that I belong, no matter what. No matter what comes down the pipeline, I belong here. No matter what it looks like, how crazy it sounds, how crazy it looks, I belong here. That I have some place to go wherever I'm at in the whole world. And that's a great freedom for me. I don't have to focus on the one that I don't think that loves me or that's not loving me back when I got a whole room full of love that's unconditional. So why focus on the one that don't? That you think they don't anyway. So it's just the thinking. You know, and most of the time what I've learned with that is, it's like, shoot, I'm so busy chasing something. It's like always chasing. This the chase. It's still the chase. Something that I want or I think I might not get. It's still about the chase. But one thing is for sure, and two things for certain. When I'm in my shortcomings like that, when I get out of myself and do something for somebody else, I get relieved of all of that. And that's the only way that I get some relief from my shortcomings, is to do something for somebody else. And sometimes I'll be blinded by that, having to do something for somebody else because I want to sit in that thinking for a while, but not as long as I used to. I get in action because I'm like, that's a dangerous spot to stay for a very long time. So I'm the co-chair for CIC, the programming committee, and we're back downtown this year, and I chair meetings. I do H&I, and then I have a new position, and you couldn't have told me that almost 10 years later, that the same judge that gave me my felony probation, I go in his courtroom, and he said, Miss McLean, I looked, I said, oh, he knows my name. And I looked at him, and that was just a glimpse. That was just a glimpse, and I saw the little girl kind of go in his chambers, come back out, and transform right then and there. Like, wow, you couldn't have told me. And my mother would say the same thing. I heard another speaker, oh, you're never finished. You're not going to, you have a felony. Yeah, nobody ever. I've seen and heard some stuff in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. So I believe. If I believe it, I know it can be done around here. You know, and now here it is. I have keys to a facility. I'm like, they gave me keys right when I started to all the stuff. And I'm like, wow. And I'm working with some guys that the parole agents, I was like, man, I didn't really want to work with you. I got to work with them now, huh? Parole agents. I said, at one time, I didn't like them. But now I found out it's all in the spirit of cooperation. You know, man, it's something when you've been given a gift that keeps on giving. And when I don't want to, because I want to run and hide, because I'm constantly presented with people's lives and what's real to them. You know, not having a job, not having any place to live, not having any hope, just not having any hope. And all they see is the lifestyle of slinging dope, sticking up somebody. And I'm like, man, but for the grace of God. And I have to go every day knowing that this is what I was called to do. This is what I was called to do. You couldn't have told me that that I was going to have to help people and share. Because I want, after all, I still want to look good. And because, you know, not you. That's not you. Oh, yeah, me too. I qualify for a seat in here, so when the clients see me in meetings, they like, yeah. I'm not in here because I ate too many cookies. It was them drugs. Them drugs, man. You know, I am just overwhelmed with joy and that, you know, that I could be useful. And it's a difference between being a Narcotics Anonymous speaker and a messenger. You know, I'm a book thumper. I can pull every page out and tell you numbers and everything. But it's like, hey, for what? For what? Never have we seen a person that lives a Narcotics Anonymous way relapse. And the newcomer is the most important person at any meeting. Why? Because we can only keep what we have by giving it away. And if I just had to keep it to myself, I believe it would turn on me and do something real foul and have me so twisted and have me set up as a demigod somewhere. So there's an uncatch that I didn't know. When you come in here, get clean, work the steps, guess what? You got a bill to pay to Narcotics Anonymous. You don't pay that bill, I've seen the sickness on a level that is just ugly. It's self-implosion. The meltdown. See, I understand that I can go to jail clean. I understand I can go to the mental institution up in here clean. I understand that. And I can go to the penitentiary. All of that is still on the table, clean. If I choose not to work the rest of the principles embodied in the 12 steps. And I believe that everyone here is working principles. I don't care if you've been formally put on one or not. There are principles working in your life if you stand clean one day at a time. That's it, that's all. And you keep coming back for the rest. I'm so glad of the differences in Narcotics Anonymous because it keeps it interesting to me. You know, I keep growing as you keep growing. As you get better, things get different in your life, you share with me, and I get better too. So it's like, man, I love Narcotics Anonymous. I still like making meetings. I still do what's required of me, even though my sponsor, she tell me, and she said, look up the word. I said, for what? I know what it means. I know what the word means. What do I need to look it up for? Just look it up. And I look up the word, and I'm just like, okay, I did that. But sometimes I'm not willing. Sometimes I am not willing to do what's required. And when I do, the door opens again. I'm like, oh, I'm in love again. Is it time? It's time. So if you're new to this process, you know, and you've never shared or got up in front of people, shoot, guess what? You're going to get your turn around here to give what was so freely given to you, because you cannot keep what you have unless you give it away. And I keep coming back.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, wasn't it? All right. I'd like to introduce Scotty R.
My name is Scott. I'm an addict. And I was really, really nervous coming up into here. And Kelly soothed me quite a bit with her calm voice and her message. I'd like to thank her a lot for that. I gave a workshop last year. And I left here saying I ain't never given a workshop again. Never. You know, because being my own toughest critic, I feel I'm underprepared. And I talked to my sponsor. I'm like, I prayed on it, man. It came out like it was supposed to. I don't think so. No, it came out how it was supposed to. And I really was rough on myself. I came here this weekend, me and my fiance, and I said, I don't think I want to do any. I'm going to hang in the background. Maybe I'll help with the guided meditation. Yeah, maybe I'll help with that if they need help. And I was asked, would you give a workshop? I'm like, oh, and I basically just told the same story. I don't think so, man. Last year I didn't do too hot. She goes, I think you sure you don't want to give a workshop? So that's my answer. I'm going to give a workshop and face my fear, and I'm going to try to redeem myself. Anyhow, I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous years ago. I don't know if it was like 6 or 7 years ago, way before I was ready. A friend that was in the program, and he's here with us, offered to take me to meetings, and just to get my mom off my back, I did that to suffice her. And I was just looking to try to get over on someone. I can get over on someone at these meetings, you know what I mean? To the point where we were at his house before we went to the meeting, and I went to his mother's purse and grabbed $40. And I didn't want to, but my disease was telling me, you're going to go in there and you're going to get that. A lot of that happened. I took and I took and I took, and mostly from my mom and my loved ones. Countless nights coming home to my mom asking me what I did, how are we going to pay the bills? It was bad. So when I finally had enough, when I kicked my ass enough and I was in enough pain, I went into a treatment facility. Hard-headed, I did not want to, try not to swear, I did not want to be there. I was looking for any reason to leave. The running joke while I was there was, I'm leaving in the next 2 hours, man. Fuck. They won't let me wear my ball cap. I can't sleep. I detoxed for 2 days. I can't sleep. I'm out of here. And then 2 hours would pass, and then, okay, I'm serious, man. I am leaving in 2 hours. And that's how I did it. I did it 2 hours at a time at first. And H&I, they came in and did an H&I presentation. Narcotics Anonymous did. And I don't know what it was. I think it was the truth. Because I was dying to hear the truth by then. Because I'd been lied to. I was lying to myself for so long. And this one older guy, the way he talked, the way he pierced my thick skull with his words, it grabbed me. And it gave me the hope that I needed to stay. And I cornered him. He was trying to get out. He's a fast guy. I cornered him after the meeting. I'm like, I need to talk to you. And we went into a side room. I was like, I don't want to be here. I can't freaking sleep, man. They won't let me wear I like to wear ball caps. I brought 5 ball caps to match each one of my outfits. And he's like, listen, why don't you, when we're done here, why don't you go read the first step and try to focus on that? Because that was another thing. They're trying to force these steps down my throat, and I'll do that one. Yeah, I'm not writing that freaking list. And okay, yeah, I mean, I'll do that. I was going to pick and choose because I knew what I needed. Matter of fact, one of the technicians told me that I needed to put a sign around my neck that said, I know everything, that's why I'm here. Really? And it turns out I didn't know shit. I stayed. They gave me the hope that I needed to get through. That man later on became my sponsor a month down the road, and still my sponsor today. I'm talking about some of my early experiences, how it was given to me, and then I'm going to talk about how I try to give back, even though I never feel I can do enough as much as I try to give back. I went to ISNAC in 06, I believe it was March of 06, with 11 days clean. I got dropped off with a backpack and $5. My mom dropped me off. And I went in there, I was like, I'm a newcomer. I don't have any money. And there was a gentleman who was paying for his registration at the time. And he turned to me and he pulled his wallet out and he dropped the $25 down. And that was one of the first miracles I experienced that weekend. Because they told me, don't leave until the miracle happens. But by Sunday, they were like, you gotta go, man. You've been here way too long. How many freaking hats do you have? Anyhow, I told them I don't have a place to stay either, and they're like, well, come back in 2 hours. Big gentleman from Muncie area, I don't know. So I went back over there 2 hours later, and he said, we found a room for you. End up going in this room, and it's my grand sponsor's room. So it was just a God thing, I think, and he took care of me all weekend. And to make a long story short, I left there with the same $5 that I came with. And I was taken care of when I couldn't do it for myself. I went to a meeting, and I shared exactly what I just shared, and I put the $5 in the basket. Just for the shock value, I think. There's 5. Did anybody else get that chill up their spine like I did? Those are just some of the miracles that I witnessed early on. I continue to witness them on a daily basis. It seems like, I did an article in the Beacon, it's our South Shore magazine, that it was talking about in 9 days I had seen maybe a total of 35 key tags given away. There were so many. There was like 8 at one meeting, 9 at another, and it was just amazing. The miracles that I've been blessed to witness. At 3.5 months clean, I told my sponsor, I'm like, what's this H&I thing that you do? And he explained it to me, and I'm like, I think that's something that I want to do. A lot of the reason was because that facility did not care for me that much. It was a rehab facility, and I wanted to go in there and show my ass. And look at me. You said I wouldn't make it. You said I would not make it. You even said, this one supervisor said, if you were looking for dope in a mall and you looked around, who might you think has it? And she was basically getting at someone who looked like me, and it really pissed me off. She's, you know, the lip ring, and I wore a stocking cap at that time with my bangs flaring out, and it really pissed me off, you know. So spite had something to do with me sticking around, I guess, too, early on. But needless to say, it got me involved. You know, they told me that I could sit in at 3 months clean, but I wouldn't be able to share until I had 6 months clean. And that was not going to work. It was not going to work for me, let me tell you. At 4 months clean, I went and sat in at the H&I subcommittee meeting, which all new to me. What the? And I pleaded my case. I have something to share now. So they waived the clean time requirement, and I dove right in. And it's been one of the most rewarding things in my program. You know, at this last ISNAC that we had, I heard a lot of people talking about service work will keep you clean. I don't entirely agree with that. In my experience, service work is helping me stay clean. I think there's a lot more to it. I think my God plays the biggest part. And it me being of loving service. You know, it says in our literature that that Narcotics Anonymous is not a selfish program. It is not a selfish, and I manipulated the shit out of that one for the longest time. This is a selfish program, dude. No, it's a selfish program. But it's not a selfish program. You know, our 12th step, the principle is grounded in selfless service. And the more I give, the more I receive. And Kelly was talking about getting paid, and my grant sponsor talks about getting paid up in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get paid. When I am being of loving service, and when I give, I'm getting paid. I am getting paid. My ego's out of the way. I'm not blocking the Spirit, letting the Spirit in. You know, I don't know what God's will is for me, but I do believe it starts with me being a loving service. And for me to do that, I got to be clean. I hold some service positions. And I'm not being cocky, and this isn't my ego talking, but it's part of my experience and what's helping me stay clean. I'm the vice chair of the H&I committee in our area. I hold a couple smaller service positions. I'm on the convention committee for 09 ISNAC. You know, I've been given a new lease on life. I feel like I'm living on borrowed time. I probably should have been dead 10 times over. Easy, you know. I feel blessed to be here. This is one of my favorite things to do. This is my 3rd year here in a row. I feel blessed to be alive, and I feel blessed to be a part of a sponsorship family that does so much service work and is so involved in H&I because they led the way for me. It's my favorite thing to do is to go and carry the message to the people who can't get to it, that are in a facility, in a jail, in a rehab, that just can't get to it. And what is my message? It works, man. I'm a living example. I am proof that it works. That's my message. I go to 3 facilities. I go to 2 jails, and I go to my favorite one, which I was the panel coordinator for a while there. And they had to waive the clean time requirement for that too, because I can never wait. I want it now. No, that doesn't apply to me. You're gonna waive that shit because I want to do it now. You know, I've come a long way, and I realized I have so far to go. Because I still chase the money carrot. That's one of my biggest problems. Is I want stuff. I got rid of so much stuff, and so much of my mom's stuff, and my brother's stuff, and my neighbor's stuff. I'm not bullshitting. There's so much of it when I was using that I'm collecting stuff, and I'm told that I'm filling a hole with stuff outside myself, and I just like stuff. You know, and you know, once I get enough stuff, I'm gonna collect some more stuff over here. You know, I could think of a lot worse things to be spending my money on. You know, I work in the HVAC field. Not that that's important, but it's been a big part of my life, doing furnaces and air conditioning. Not that I'm trying to get any side work or nothing like that. I'm not. You had said he needed a phone number. I handed him a business card. That's the only thing I had my number on, but I don't. Anyhow, you know, and my mom's got this furnace in her house that's like 28 years old, because if I do it, I'm not going to get paid to do it. You know, financially, I should say. Let me clarify. I got a furnace sitting in there, and I'm waiting to put in now. Is what I'm getting at. You know, and little things like that, being able to give back to her, because I think she prayed me into the rooms before I knew the power of prayer. That's what I believe. And I told this story a couple times, that she used to have this anointed oil that she used to rub on my feet when I was sleeping. I'd wake up, what are you doing? Really? Or when I just about to leave to go out on my hustle, she'd come here and she'd be rubbing what the?
Yeah.
And she got me here, I believe. Her belief in God got me here. You know, and I can never give back enough to her. What I also wanted to talk, I'm not the long talker, and especially in front of a whole lot of people. You can see I'm not even looking at you guys because I'm nervous. I'm looking at moment of silence over and over, because it's in parentheses and I can focus on that. I think it's important, and I talked about service, but reaching out to the newer members, and I don't do it nearly enough. But I remember when I was real early on, and I remember the first time going to a meeting and someone said my name, and the feeling that I got, like, he just said my name, you know? And I remember that feeling I got, and I tried. Sometimes I'll sit there, and if I meet someone, I got to sit there and repeat their name like 10 times. That's Derek, that's Derek, that's Derek, that's Derek, that's Derek. You know what I mean? Because I want to try to make that effort, because it made me feel so accepted early on. I try to buy basic texts. I bought quite a few, and I'm not going to rattle it off what I have done, because I'd like to think it's for the right reason, not because I want a pat on the back or acknowledgement. But I try to give, and no matter how much I give, service-wise, reaching out, working with my sponsees, I don't think it's ever enough. I gotta stay connected, because for me, if I disconnect, I'm gonna use no matter what. It's just a matter of time. You know, I can't stay clean. I need you guys. We can stay clean, but I can't. I will use no matter what. My experience shows me that. I've proven it time and time again. I will use. So being of loving service, staying connected, working with people, it's what I need to do. And I need to work steps. You know, that's probably one of the most important things I always leave out, because that's a lot of work, and a lot of times I lack the willingness until my ass is on fire. I think I had something else I wanted to say, and I did this last year too, because I had a whole lot more I wanted to say, and I just couldn't think of it. It didn't come out how I had planned in my head. It never does, you know. And my sponsor quickly assures me that, you know, you don't always get what you want. You don't always get what you need, but you're always going to get what you get.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. If you didn't get what you wanted, or if you didn't get what you needed, you got what you got. I am proud to say that I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous. It's given me a life, and it's given my mother her son back. That's all I got.
I can't. What time is this then? 2:45?
I nailed it.
15? All right, guys.
Got a touch of Hammond up in this place.
We still have 15 more minutes. We open the floor for sharing. I'd like to remind everybody that you're being taped. And if you wish not to be taped, just let us know, and you won't be taped. So, the podium's open, I guess, for anybody who wants to come up. We got 15 more minutes, so it's open.
Thanks for sharing, Jeremy.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, family. My name is Denise, and I'm an addict. You know, H&I has been very important to me, and I've been very involved in it from the time I come in. And I was told if I didn't do any service work, I couldn't stay clean. And I took that to heart. From the day I got into Narcotics Anonymous, I took it to heart. I was walking out the door of my treatment center. I had 2 weeks clean, and my bags were packed, and I said, you know, I can't do this. I got to go. I didn't want my son back from the state. They could keep him, and I just had to go. And a man came in with key tags hanging down. And they were all different colors, you know, and they were almost to the floor. And I was like, whoa, what's that about? So I went up to him and I said, excuse me, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm in H&I and I'm stuffing little pamphlets in here. These are IPs and they're for, you know, information. And it's a part of service, and service keeps me clean. So that was my first taste of giving it away to keep it. And then 2 days later, people came in and did an open talk, which was my first taste of an open talk. And I thought, wow, you people actually give up your time to come in here and talk to us? I mean, that is awesome. And so when I got out, I dove into service, and I haven't left it. For 17 years, I have held a service position of one area or another, and I'm finally proud to say I'm on the board. And it took steps to get to the board, because you just don't come out and jump to the board. You have to work your way there. You have to actually earn your respect, your integrity, your clean time, and work a program. Because if you don't work a program, people don't want you on the board of Narcotics Anonymous running an area. They want people up there that know what they're doing, have integrity, do what they say they're going to do, and carry it out. And that's what Macomb County area has. And I sponsor 6 women. I sponsor the women in Narcotics Anonymous that nobody will sponsor. And it's funny how they gravitate to me, because they know that Denise will take them, you know. It doesn't matter. Closed head injury, I'll take you. No problem, you know. It's odd, you know. 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds, all of mine are very young sponsees, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. But they, somewhere, somehow, somebody's telling them, psst, that one, she'll take it, you know. And I do. With open arm and love, because somebody took me when I was new. Somebody held out their arms and said, I'm going to love you till you can love yourself. I'm like, you don't even know me. Get off me, man. How can you tell me that? That is such a line. But it was so true. These people actually loved me till Denise could love herself. And it took years. I mean, you know, first I had to get self-respect and self-esteem and self-reliance and all the things that I didn't have in order to love me. And then they loved me when I couldn't love me. And they kept telling me, keep coming back and we'll keep loving you. And they did, in spite of myself. You know, packing a leather, packing a pistol. I mean, I was just all that when I come up in here. I was a drug dealer for 15 years. I didn't come in going, oh, carrying my white purse. That was not me. I was a very hardcore person. And you look at me and you got up and left my table. because I was intimidating. Through working H&I and through sponsoring people and emptying ashtrays, believe it or not, and making coffee, and being a treasurer for 7 years. And right now I hold 4 positions. Am I a service junkie right now? Yes, I am. Is it keeping me clean? You're damn straight it is. I'm doing what I got to do because you people in Narcotics Anonymous told me when things get tough, and it don't matter how long you've been clean, when things get tough, you got to dive into Narcotics Anonymous with both feet and hang on to your ass, because the only one that's going to save you is those steps, your higher power, your sponsor, and the women you have in your life. Not the men, for me, the women. And service position, when I don't want to go to that meeting on Thursday night, I got to go. I'm the treasurer. Who's going to collect the money? We done been ripped off 6 times. Somebody's got to collect the money. It's got integrity, And that'd be me. The dances aren't running right. Step up in there and get them dances running right. Somebody who knows we ought not never be organized. And God knows we are not. You know what I'm saying? We are not. And once in a while, they call me the NA police. And I don't appreciate it, but that's what I am. Seriously, if I see something ain't going straight by the book, by the traditions, I'm there. We have this little bowling thing going in Macomb County, and we had a man working the side, taking side bets, and had his own little hustle going. Yeah. And it was a $350 hustle that I stepped in on and said, what's going on? This is not in Narcotics Anonymous. This isn't in our traditions. Come on. Get your gambling shit elsewhere, not here at Narcotics Anonymous. The same man was skimming at the door at the dances. So I decided to work the register. I ain't on the activities. I just decided that I'm going to work the register. And ain't too many people tell me no. Like I said, I'm intimidating. Okay, you want to work the register? Go ahead, D. Well, he was skimming $10, And I had to watch. I had to make sure. And when I realized it, I removed him from his position. You no longer work the door, you no longer handle the money, and you no longer are going to rip Narcotics Anonymous off in Macomb County. We're broke. And your ass is making us more broke. And so that's why they call me the police, but it's integrity. It's doing our traditions. It's living what Narcotics Anonymous is about and not letting anybody exploit us from the inside, because it'll happen. They'll explode us from the inside because not everybody recovers at the same time in the same pace, There's a lot of GA up in here. They may not be using drugs, but damn it, they're using other things. And it's people, places, gambling, sex, what have you not. And the part of the service that I say is teaching the newcomers when they come in that not everybody is recovering at the same time in these rooms. And you don't put all your laundry out on the table, because that shit will be out at the coffee house next week. You got a sponsor, that's what you use it for. Because newcomers don't know. They only know what we tell them, And if they don't see Narcotics Anonymous to be appealing, why would they hang out? Why would they stay? They wouldn't. If there wasn't a dance on Friday night for them to go instead of go to the bar, why? They don't see any fun happening. They're not going to hang with us. They're going to go where the fun is. And that's important to me, and that's why I stay with the activities, and I stay with keeping the dances rolling and the horseshoes going and the whitewater raft and whatever it takes to keep Narcotics Anonymous inviting for the young ones and the old. And I believe service work has kept me clean 17 years. Not just living the steps, not just sponsoring, I'm talking service work. I'm accountable to people. I'm accountable for books, for money, for whatever it is, whatever position that I hold at that time. I have people that look to me to be straight up, square, honest, with integrity, that they can count on, and they don't have to think that I'm going to be stashing it in my pocket on the slide. We had a woman work our MSO, ripped us off for $30,000, and no one prosecuted her, and no one did. $30,000 ain't a little chunk of change when you're talking about Narcotics Anonymous. And then we just kind of let her go. Butterfly free. I wanted to kill her. I did. I wanted to ring her, just make it real quick. And but this is a program of recovery. And to work the steps, I had to have empathy and sympathy and all that stuff, you know, that I had a hard time finding because $30,000 was so much money, you know, and MSO was so broke. And today, you know, sitting up on the area board gives me the NA police badge. I got the badge now. I'm on the board, you know. Before I was just a hard ass that went around and made little comments, but now I actually have the clout to go with it. So when you're skimming or you're scamming or you're ripping and you're running on Narcotics Anonymous, I am the first one. And everybody knows it. I'll be the first one to call you on your shit. I'll have no problem with it. You ain't doing it right, you need to go. You need to go, you need to put the money back where it goes so it can go to the area and go to the region. Because that's what keeps us going. People don't realize the steps in Narcotics Anonymous and how Narcotics Anonymous stays alive. It's because our little dollars in the basket go to the area, which go to the region, which go to the world. Okay? And that's how we all stay the big family we are worldwide. It's through those dollars in the basket. Well, when you got Joe Blow taking 50 for, you know, his car payment, somewhere down the line, service is suffering. And that's part of H&I. That's part of keeping our service positions, is having integrity. Doing what you'll say you'll do long after the resolution to do it has left you. And that's my part.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's still 5 more.
Hello, everybody. I'm an addict called Earth.
Hi, Earth.
Hello. One of the greatest things that I enjoy in giving back, what has been so freely given to me, is when newer members come into the room. And the interesting thing about it is it was not quite my experience. I did not experience real friendly karma when I stepped into the rooms. And I got my little list of reasons why I had totally moved to a new environment. My boyfriend, who was now my husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time, and he was from the area, and so I was either Baba Louie's girlfriend or old girl from Georgia. And people didn't call me by my name for a very long time, and it was just a whole lot of different. I was always kind of struggling to fit in around there. So one of the things that I do, and I take great pride in doing it, is going around to different meetings. And if I see you and you got a new face and I never seen you before, I'm gonna, make sure that I introduce myself to you. I'm gonna make sure that I give you my number, I get your number, and make sure that I give you a call. I think it's so important, and in this day and age, the new members, they are looking very different when they come in. They, some of them still have jobs. They're not all tore up, and so we can't assume that life has not been as hard for them because they don't look, really, just really tore up like I did when I got here. And it's really beneficial to me as well. They take great pride in, this person with all this clean time is taking interest in me and blah, blah, blah. But I reap benefits as well. I get people with this really new energy, and I'm at this young lady it's probably been about 4 weeks now. And so we talk on the phone pretty often, and this young lady is so positive and so uplifting. I mean, she's so sweet, I just want to choke her sometimes. She's giving me compliments, and she's just like, she'll make comments like, I just got to live each day like it's my last one. And that's stuff that I need to hear, because I can go on this mental tangent and all this stuff I got to do and need to focus on. And here's this lady with like barely 90 days giving me some encouragement on how I need to live my life. And so I don't know, she's just really a wonderful person to be around. And something else I get to do with the newer member, as we try to find different things to do. I like to go to plays and concerts and just kind of like the little small theatrical stuff. And my husband thinks that stuff is really weird. And so I meet up with these newcomers and they all excited just to go anywhere, right? So I got a partner now. And we go, we went to this, it's called the Ladies Library Association, and they were having a concert. And the young lady went with me, and I tell you, she just had the time of her life. I had a really good time, but I was really blessed to see how blessed she was just by going. And that has just been a really creative way that I can reach out and be there, be there for somebody. And I may not get a chance to meet all the newer people that come into the rooms, but I believe that I can still send off a certain kind of energy. I can make people can tell whether or not you are approachable. This is my belief. And so I just make myself user friendly. I want people to feel like they can come up to me, you know, and you can, you know, say how you doing. And I'm telling you, one of the prayers that I have is a personal prayer, is that God will shine his light to me and through me. So I want to be that radiating, and my prayer is often answered. And you know how God will answer your prayer and it'll still shock you sometimes? And so a lot of times if I'm walking, I don't know people. This happens to me all the time. People will like literally go out their way to say, hey, how you doing to me? You know, hey, how you doing? Walk past all these people and they speak to me. And I really believe that it's not me, but it is God's light shining through me. And people just kind of connect to that. And I'm really grateful that I could be used in that way. Narcotics Anonymous is one of the most magnificent things, one of many magnificent things that have happened to me. And if there's ways that I can pay my debt, I won't say anyway. I'm not even gonna stand up here and say I'll do anything NA asked me to do, because that's not been my experience. But I do most of the stuff. Some stuff I will chicken out too. But you know, I love NA, and I'm grateful that there are creative ways that we can keep what we have by giving it away. And I do believe in service work. I do believe in doing the jail ministry. I feel a lot of what one of the speakers was sharing, you know, when I would go to the county jail to share, and I'll feel really good because I'm walking about this camp, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, close that door, but I'll be leaving in an hour, buddy. So that's a really good feeling. I'm from the Kalamazoo area, and we have just a phenomenal recovering community in Kalamazoo. I'm under a strain looking for a sponsor right now, but it's not due to the area. I just need to reach out a little bit more. I want to reach out outside of Kalamazoo, to be quite frank with you. But I have had a sponsor out of Kalamazoo before, and that distance can be challenging at times. So I need to be, you know, real about that. But I also need to be very vigilant about doing what I need to do to protect my recovery. Thanks for listening.
Okay.